A pandemic of violence floods the streets of major cities as cases of the media-dubbed murder virus, MV20, soar, causing those infected to go on killing sprees. Caught in the middle, police detective Angela Miller finds her only trustworthy ally in the self-proclaimed psychic PI, Gerald Henry. As the two try to navigate the violence, they are drawn into New Age guru Abramelin Harvest's plot to heal the planet. Harvest's missive?
The world is sick, and humanity is the infection.
The cure? Murder. From the twisted mind of Shawn Baker, author of A Collection of Desires and Shadow Play in Book 1, Kim and Jesse, comes his most vicious novel yet, Murder Virus. Available where books are sold.
Here we are, the future of show business.
Hello, welcome to Drinking with Comics, new comic book day roundup. I'm Shawn.
I'm Mike.
And Mike, would you like to introduce our guest?
This is Krystal,
I know, tell the people at home.
the Krystal Flores.
The Krystal Flores.
How are you, Krystal?
I'm doing well. Thank you for letting me be on and talk about some books that made me cry.
Sure. Now, I believe I overheard that Mike made you promise that you would weep. So
Yeah.
you don't
So I'm
have to
gonna
weep
try
if
my
you don't
best.
want to. I understand that Home may have been an emotional read, but if he's trying to make you like weep over the second issue of Beserker, I've read it. It's not weep worthy. So
It's not. I read Beserker too.
That's the other
okay.
book she's going to talk about.
Okay, perfect.
Psychic.
So I guess so. I know what you got a lot of copies of. So I know what you-
Yeah. It's like, Shawn, you do want every cover of Beserker.
No, I don't. But
I'll bring them.
I
I'll
did
bring
buy
them
one
to
of
your
them.
house.
No, don't do that. But we'll get to Berserker in time. So first, are you guys drinking anything?
Of course. Bow, wow, wow, yippee, yo, yippee, yay. Snoop Doggy Dog in the house.
19
Need a
Crimes.
refill?
Yes, I love Snoop Dogg wine. It's my favorite.
Now is it a Cabernet, a Merlot?
It's a red
None of the
blend.
above.
Oh yeah,
blend.
red blend, yo.
I have the Ballast Point California Kolsch. That's what I'm
Is it
drinking.
good?
Yeah, it's good. It's a Kolsch. So I tend to go to Kolsch's when it gets warmer. So, and it's
Is
been
that
warm.
like German or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It directly translates to drunk. No, I'm kidding. It doesn't. Or maybe it does. I'm not even sure, to be honest.
All right.
Hmm.
Well, that's the
So let's-
goal, right?
Well, no, not necessarily. Not on a Thursday. I mean, some
Okay.
Thursdays, but not this Thursday.
And I got to drive home anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, let's get to comics, man.
Let's talk some comics. What do you guys want to talk about first?
You want to kick it off with Home? Since it's a few weeks old, let's do that.
Yeah, do Home. So we talked about this briefly, I think 2 weeks ago, and you had said, I think you sold out of it, right?
I still have like 3 copies.
Okay, so it was selling, but you hadn't sold out. You read
It did
and
sell
liked it.
well.
So, guys, tell me about Home because I don't know anything about it.
Oh,
Here
well,
it is.
I loved it. I didn't even know of its existence until like I saw a preview of it online, and it just, considering that like my mom crossed the border and everything, that's why I was so interested in it. I wanted to see how they were going to approach it, and it takes place in modern times during they don't right out say it's during the Trump administration, but there's
But you
so
can
much
tell,
alluding
right?
to it
Yeah,
that you can, if you live here in the States, you know who they're talking about.
yeah.
And so it was a really good, I thought it was a really good book. I thought, like I said, I wasn't expecting much from it, but there was just a few moments that just kind of hit home, especially growing up, all the things my mom would tell me that she went through when she was coming over here, about all the dangers that she went through when she was going through the desert, and having to hide in cars, trucks, all that. And you see this in Home, And the messed up part is that they were trying to do everything the right way. They were trying to come here to the US to find asylum. And then they got sent into the ice box, which is, it's similar to how you hear about, the kids in cages thing that's going on. So it's just showing all of that that's going on, and just getting to get somewhat of a perspective of what those people were going through. And to me, thinking, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what my mom was going through, let alone what the people right now is going through. That's what brought me to tears. Just thinking about what it would have been like for my mom to have to deal with all of that, traveling with us at the time, if we were around at that time, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Did you share this comic with your mom?
No, I haven't had a chance to share it with her.
She might not want to read it.
No.
It's so first of all, who wrote Home? Or I don't know, is it writer and artist?
It was written by Julio Anta. I've never heard of him before.
Okay. I'm gonna assume that he would be very moved to hear that you were moved by this. And comics is like one of those things, I feel like, even in it's like the superhero form, right? Like I was listening to a podcast today, and then these people were talking very like philosophically, like it sounds kind of ridiculous, but they were talking about how they identify with aspects of the Incredible Hulk and like his loneliness and the abuse that blah, 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 blah. So if people can identify with big ideas, like fantastic ideas, like superheroes, and they can find a kernel of truth in it that the creator put there and identify with it, which I think is very common, at least with Marvel characters. Imagine like this is that, but times a million, because there's no fantasy element, right? It's like, this is the world that we live in.
Yeah, there's a little bit of fantasy element at the end.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm allowed to speak about like spoilers or anything like that, in case there's people out there who want to read it. But then again, it's been out for a couple of weeks, so I think it's fair game, don't you think?
Is it the first issue of a series?
It appears so. From the back, it looks like there's going to be a couple of issues.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead, because that's really all that is anybody that doesn't know. I mean, in my opinion, it's not a spoiler, because anybody that hasn't already read it might not read it until they hear this, and then this might be, what gets them to read it. So go ahead.
And if you don't want to know, then stop listening for 30 seconds. There you go.
There you go, a little disclaimer. Yeah, so again, deals with the whole realistic aspect of people seeking asylum here, and getting put into the detainment facilities. And so there's this scene where the part that made me break down was the scene where Mercedes, that's the name of the mom, and Juan, that's the name of the boy in the book. The book is going to be focusing around Juan.
Okay.
And the prison guards are, separating them, because you always hear all these stories about like, kids are being taken away from their parents and detainment. And so we get to see that. And so now that Juan is off on his own because he got separated from his mother, you see how the children are trying to survive being in these cages. And you hear so many things, like even Law and Order SVU did an episode about it, like it involved like children trafficking because they get lost in the system.
Right.
And so they show these guards are taking advantage of these children, and it's almost like a mutant moment where certain moments of stress or trauma trigger their powers to come out. And so Juan, there's this rule saying that the kids can't bring food back to the cage with them, but he snuck like an orange with him back because he was hungry. And so he gets caught by one of the guards. They put him in isolation, and the guard was about to take it, I guess would it be considered taking advantage of him? He was about to start beating him.
Mm-hmm.
To make him listen.
Discipline.
Yeah, discipline him that way. And it triggered like his powers to come out. And so he ended up exploding his cell because of his powers. And now he's on the run. And so that's where the book ended, with him on the run.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So it's almost got like that little bit of like that mutant X-Men aspect to it.
That's really interesting. Okay, so I thought that this was a straight, like this was going to be oh God, Mike, help me. There's another somewhat recent famous comic that it's 100% reality based
Well,
about.
I mean, there's like, it's not recent, but Persepolis,
Okay,
books like that. Yeah.
yeah, books like that. That's not what I'm thinking of, but that's just as good of an example.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. So that's really interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't
Think
really
about
market
that.
it that way. They kind of just make it seem
Well,
like
it's cool that they make it a surprise,
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't know from looking at the cover that it's, a superhero book.
Which is super cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it might not even be a superhero book. It might be a superpower book. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
Got powers.
That's probably what it's going to be.
yeah, and it kind of gives you like once you see that his powers developed, it kind of, to me, it kind of gave me a sense of like, oh, maybe that's why they were running away, because when his mother is trying to explain to the U.S. government why she was seeking asylum, she said like this neighborhood gang killed her husband, and we're now coming after her son.
Oh.
So, and then there's these little hints that this isn't the first time he has had this type of reaction. It almost seems like this has been an ongoing thing that they're aware of, that he has these little bursts where his powers come out.
Wow.
So I'm thinking maybe the gang is like wanted to kill him, maybe, or they're gonna pop up later on in the book.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious if maybe the father also had powers. Maybe he was working for them. As
Yeah, a lot of these things are genetic.
Yeah, right. Or, well, I mean, previously established, but maybe this is different. But I mean, it does seem like that could be an angle where it's like maybe he worked for them, or maybe he didn't work for them and they want the kid, and that's why they killed the father. Either way, I mean, how cool is it to, put that at the end of the issue and really give you a sense of this character and his family's struggle up to that point, and then have it like crescendo with that. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, more than meets the eye, right?
Definitely. Is there
What
a
you
drum
got, Shawn?
circle? Is there a drum circle going on outside?
There is. I would go ask them to stop, but it's their soundtrack.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not loud. So Deadly Class came back, and I didn't even realize it's been a year.
There.
Yeah,
So did either of you read this?
I read it.
Dude, the opening, like 3 pages that lead to the splash page introduction.
Got a Nirvana shirt.
That is one of the best intros to a comic I've ever seen in my entire life, by far.
Yeah.
Not only because of where Marcus is now, so it jumps to 1991. I forget what year they were in.
Yeah, they're in 1991.
It has to be the 90s with his Nirvana shirt.
It is.
Yeah.
It's 91, but I'm saying I don't remember where issue 44 where they were. It wasn't the 90s yet. It was maybe.
No, it jumps ahead. And I don't tell Rick, but I haven't read 44, so I don't know. I didn't realize that was kind of like the end for now of the book. And then they went and did the TV show, and now they're back. And I don't want to say it, but I would say the author might be in a mode of maybe semi-depression with COVID and everything. And I love Deadly Class, don't get me wrong. It started in 1987, the series, the time it
the
took place,
timeline. Yeah, the continuity.
But like 1991, that's when I was like a junior in high school. But I remember having some of those discussions, like with people. Remember when he's talking to the girl about music?
Oh, dude, it's exact. I mean, everything from the cassettes laying on the little table, the Primus, Godfather, Bleach.
Yeah, but I had the same discussions. I never slept in a bathtub.
I don't know if I did or not.
You
That's
probably
possible. I might have. I mean, not as like, let's put it this way. That's his bed. Like there's a pillow, blankets, like he's got accoutrement to the bathtub. So no, I've never slept in a bathtub on a regular basis.
No, yeah. Yeah, it was, and when I was reading it, I was like, this is so slice of life until, obviously when it wasn't.
Yeah, when it wasn't. But no, it's exact, dude. The conversations he has with the girl, even like just the where he's telling her, like, she says, "Oh, I like grunge," and he's like, "None of those bands even want to be called that. Nirvana is the Pixies and the Killing Joke with a clear punk influence. Nothing like, say, Soundgarden. Soundgarden is more like modern Black Sabbath." I've said that exact sentence probably 500 times in my life. Not anytime recently.
Did you ever say it to Rick Remender? Because you might want to sue him.
No, not to Rick Remender, but I mean, because that's what Soundgarden is. I mean, it's clear as day.
Yeah.
They don't sound anything like those other bands, I don't know. I thought it was really brilliant.
Yeah, it was good, and you kind of cringe at their relationship, the guy and the girl. I think his name's Marcus, right?
It's Marcus, yes.
So you kind of cringe at their interactions, but again, like music snobs like you and I have had those interactions.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I'm less a snob now, but I still don't like stuff that sucks, and I still don't like, I still don't like modern Metallica, or I mean, at this point, anything past 1990.
Anything past Black Album just sucks.
I mean, that was good.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
I would even say I don't like the Black Album. I'll give it to him, as I don't think that it was a complete sellout move. I think they just wanted to relax after writing something as daunting as Justice. But Death Magnetic was Rick Rubin saying, "Okay, what made your band sound like your band 20 years ago? Let's just make a caricature of that." I mean, it's like, when you go to the amusement park and the guy draws the caricature of you, and it's like it exaggerates certain features, but when people see it, they're like, "Oh, that's okay, that's Mike." That's what Death Magnetic is. It's just a caricature. Hit me.
But this is something, again, you and I can both discuss, and it's something Krystal needs to
Oh
know
God,
about.
dude, so fucking good.
Look at this.
So
This
good.
is the most.
I know you told me to read that
It's
one.
the most metal Marvel comic out
It
there.
is, dude. It is. Talk about metal. Like, oh
Yeah.
my God. I'm so glad you turned me on.
I love that spread where he's like looking around the ship. It's like a 2-page, and like the artist, I think Daniel Warren Johnson or whatever his name is, he put so much work into that, and the dialogue. Who's the warmongering guy? Scourge.
There you go.
Yeah, so Scourge is awesome. Like his enthusiasm to look out for his buddy Thor and or not Thor, Beta Ray, and it's just there's like 4 or 5 really good sort of scenes in the book.
Dude, they get into the bar fight, the bar clears, and then Odin where's Odin been since he left Asgard? He owns and manages a dive space bar. Like, that was the best thing.
And they let him brew his beer in the back.
So good. So good.
Okay, it's Krystal's turn. She's gonna gush.
Shawn wants to talk about Beserker.
No, go ahead, start. I can speak to it. I just read it right before we started this.
Okay, cool. All right, I see something.
I went to the ends of the earth to find issue 1. I barely read it last night, and I got it like a couple weeks ago. So I got it obviously because Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves. Anyone who knows me, he is one of my many husbands. And so I really had no idea what to expect with this. A lot of these books, I'm surprised. I'm such a diehard DC and Marvel comic fan. I really haven't really branched out into like Image or Boom and sorry.
That's okay.
And so I haven't really given like Image or Boom a chance, and I feel like a lot of the books that I've been liking lately have all been from Image and Boom. So, yeah, Keanu Reeves' book. I love it. I even was posting on my Instagram. I really hope Keanu Reeves considers making this into a movie.
Oh, he's considering it. I guarantee that.
But that was the first. That was the first thing he considered.
Like him. I mean, it's almost like he's saying, "Hey, put me in this role if it ever gets picked up." And a friend of mine told me that Netflix picked it up for a live action movie already in an anime.
Oh, really?
I'm sure.
Pretty excited about that. Again, the way someone marketed this to me said it was like Punisher meets John Wick, and I love John Wick. I will eat anything John Wick because I love dogs. And I always say that if I was ever in a situation that John Wick was in, I would be doing the same. I feel everything he's on behalf of his dog is totally justified.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, for my dog. So yeah, I was like, okay, I'll take a read. And I did not think that it was going to have to deal with this. What is he, like a caveman? You read it, right?
He's like so I think it's the first issue sets up what a badass he is, and that he's got some like government, like they're using him and there's some secret. And so the second one obviously is telling you that like, okay, he's I guess immortal, and so like a god, I think is what he's, or he's
like a Highlander.
He was a weapon given to the people by the gods that they were asking for.
I mean, in a way, it's a Jesus analog, right? Because the woman takes the mushrooms or ayahuasca or whatever, and then has sex with.
Like immaculate conception. He just popped up.
And
her husband didn't even think twice to be like, "What were you doing?" Just next day, "Oh, hey, I'm pregnant."
Yeah, and what he says, he was like in the womb for like 60 days or something, and then he was birthed.
He said 2 moons, so that's like 2 months.
Yeah.
Which is my least favorite way to make a baby, by the way.
Dare I? No, I'm not going to ask. I'm not walking into that one. It's a good book. I mean, I read the issue, and this is not a bad thing. I read the issue in probably 5 minutes. So in that respect, like that was the same thing with Walking Dead. Like it would just pull you through it. And so like the art and the artist and the writer work together in a way where they kind of finish each other's sentences, so to speak, and that like the art does a lot of the talking, which is cool. I think it's always good when that happens. And you can tell, even though I think that this is like, okay, let's do a comic first, and then at the same time, like what isn't it, Millar World? Like Mark Millar sells the concepts for his comics to be movies before he even writes the comics. Famously, Wanted, they bought it and wrote the movie before he even finished writing the comic. So it's like a similar thing, and it's like, let's just attack on all fronts.
Keanu Reeves, like homage to the meme that he's always on the bench kind of thing.
I've never seen the meme.
That Keanu Reeves meme going around. I thought it was like a homage to that.
Is there a sad Keanu Reeves meme going around?
Yeah, it was like
really. I've never seen
like
this.
The longest time. It still is. Keanu Reeves he was eating his lunch and he looked very sad eating his lunch, and then they started kind of like Bernie Sanders
with the mittens.
Sitting down with the mittens. It was like that for a time where they were just putting Keanu Reeves, like they put him on a bench with Forrest Gump and waiting for the bus and things like that. So I thought it was a little nod to that.
It probably is. It's got to be, right?
I mean, it's page 1 of the book.
I feel like Keanu Reeves would be a man of good humor.
Yeah. Definitely. He's apparently a fantastic person. I have a friend who worked in Hollywood for a little bit, but before he actually got his break, he told me like he had this period of time where he was broke and everything was going not his way, and his car broke down or something. I don't know. And he was like in a really bad place and standing on the sidewalk, and Keanu Reeves happened to walk by and was like, "Hey man, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay." And it was just, he said, I took it as such like almost divine intervention that like, it was so odd. And then he eventually knew, I don't think he ever worked with him, but I think he knew of people that work with him, and they were just like, yeah, he's a sweetheart. He's an amazing human being. That's very positive force of nature. So more power to him.
Good stories about Keanu. And then for a while, there was even stories from people in New York saying how they just would casually run into him on the subway. Like he was still taking the subway.
With that guy that was standing on the side of the street.
I was just gonna say, I got to tell you, after watching 3 John Wick movies, all of which I loved, if I saw him on the subway, I would probably get the fuck out of that car, because chances are every other person in that car and on that train are assassins. Because if there's one thing that there's one thing John Wick teaches us, is that everybody in New York City is a fucking assassin.
Everyone still has a pager, and everyone still for the Continental, and everyone has like some sort of thing going on.
Yeah, because when they drop that bounty on him, man, I'm just like, oh my God, it's like every New Yorker is like checking their phone, like, oh, okay. That was good movies. Yeah, I definitely think I think there's still copies of 1 and 2. I think Beserker #1 got a reprint, right?
Yeah.
I have all issues here.
So there you go. Mike, what's your address at the shop?
It is 400 East 3rd Street, Long Beach, California, known as Atomic Basement Comics.
So
yeah, come get it. We also have copies of Home. We have copies of everything we talked about tonight.
Cool.
Which is why we're talking about it.
We got a reprint of Stray Dogs here too.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Sean, you love Stray Dogs, don't you?
I do. It's fantastic. Have you read it, Krystal?
I have. Again,
Okay, it's so good. It's so and oh my God, and the 3rd issue, like the last page, I was like, what is going on? So it's so good.
I had to sit there for a moment and process things a little bit. Again, dog lover, and just seeing that, I was even joking because how they refer to their masters, and all in this case, all of them happen to be female. They're referring to them as their lady. I was even wondering, does Hercules, that's my wiener dog, I'm like, does he refer to me as his lady? Would he be avenging my death if something happened to me?
He would. He totally would.
Probably.
But hopefully he won't need to.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen.
No, definitely not.
It's a good book. Like, it's gruesome.
It is.
As someone mentioned, it is so cute, and then you get towards like the end, you're like, what the heck is happening here? Why is this turning so dark? I thought this was a puppy book.
Yeah,
And
but it's not like brutal in a visual way, but it definitely like it tugs on the heartstrings, and it's just really good.
Open interpretation just makes you think so many things. Like the last scene, they didn't straight up show what happened to Victor, but you knew what happened to Victor, one of the dogs, and I was just like,
well, maybe.
My heart broke so hard.
Maybe. So this is one I didn't even know this was coming out this week. I thought it was still like a week.
Hold it in front of your chest. That might work.
I will. I haven't read it yet. Okay. The first one is fucking amazing. Anybody that reads the Brubaker and Phillips stuff knows they're just no, you can't compare to what they do. They're operating on such a high level. And this is the second Reckless book. The first one came out, I guess, maybe 6 months ago, and I loved it. And so, the evolution of Brubaker and Ed Brubaker and Shawn Phillips as they work together, they used to do series that were monthly, but finite. So it'd be 12 issues, 13 issues, whatever. And then they'd move on. And then now they're in a place where they just put out hardcovers like every 6 months with like, basically instead of putting out floppies for a couple months, just put the whole thing out at once. And they're gorgeous. And I can't wait to read this. The first Reckless book blew me away. And I wasn't in on them from the ground floor. I never read Criminal until later. So I think I got into them with Fatale, and then the Fade Out is still probably my favorite, and on everything since then. But these are probably now my favorite. And just like the cover, that like homage.
That's nice packaging.
The homage to that like 60s, 70s paperback pulp, novel.
Right.
Oh my God. It's such a class act, and so anyway, I can't wait to read this.
Cool. Since I hate reading, just kidding. I'm going to recommend this, which I don't know if you can see it. It's the Star Wars 40th anniversary special. Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary.
Oh,
so last year,
What is that?
It's really cool. So let me see if I can just show you. Can you see that? Are you seeing stuff?
Kind of cut off a little bit.
Oh. Maybe if I hold it like that.
Here. Set the comic down and then just hold the phone over it like you're taking a picture of it.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Yeah,
you
there
could
you go.
edit it in later or whatever.
Well, if I can find it online, that's a thing. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Boss,
so
the bounty hunters. Yes.
it's the entire story of Empire Strikes Back told in splash pages. So basically, the source material here
Oh, that's
was
really
a
cool,
series
man.
of, I think, 36 variant covers that came out over the course of the last year to celebrate Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary. Look at that, dude. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all know and love the movie. We can look at these pictures and practically hear the soundtrack and the dialogue. So, look at that, dude.
Dude, that is really cool, man. I got to tell you.
Yeah, yeah. So what they did was they collected all 36 of the covers that he did and put them in a book. So it's cool because, like, if you didn't want to go spend $10 for each of these covers, because you're talking like $360, you can buy this book for $6 and it's all there,
Wow.
Like, if only they told me they were going to do that. I did. I just get like one. I pick my favorite cover and but I do have every Star Wars comic. But anyway, it's cool. It'll definitely bring you some nostalgia. There's a good interview with him in the back about how he wanted to take all of these iconic scenes and do them from maybe a different angle. Like, here's an example of that.
Wait, who is the artist?
Chris Sprouse.
Okay.
He's an Eisner Award-winning artist. You want to look at it?
Sure, like just looking at it online.
So he said he wanted to, give it a fresh sort of angle perspective. And he said it was really hard because, the movie's so iconic and the scenes are so good to begin with, to like try to go in and, do something else. But yeah, there's some where he didn't veer at all from what you see on the screen. And there's some pages where it's like, it's like using the power of comics. Like, you can't have Luke Skywalker flying up into an AT-AT from the perspective of, his face. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Or at least back in 1980, you couldn't. You probably could now. So I dug it. I think it's really cool. I recommend it. It's one of those things that, again, I'm a nostalgic kind of guy. So
I gotta say, so you read, you said you have copies of every Star Wars comic?
I think so.
So is that going back like all the way to the beginning of the Marvel
all the way
stuff?
to the first, all the way through Dark Horse, all the way through, what's happening now in Marvel. I haven't read them all, dude. There's thousands and thousands of them, but it's one of those things where I'm 47 years old. I've been collecting Star Wars since I was,
right,
10. And
right.
It's like, I've gotten this far. I'm going to give up now.
No, fair point. What I was going to ask. So I'm large, I mean, I like Star Wars fine. Except for where, after that, what was the second one back?
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. After that, I was like, I'm done.
Did you watch Mandalorian?
However, Mandalorian is amazing. And yes. I will even say, it's been out for a while, but I won't even go spoilers, but the second season finale hit me on so many emotional levels that like, I just couldn't believe it. And then they had the stinger at the end with Jabba's palace. And
announcing the next show.
Kirsten was like, I've never seen that look on your face before. Like, I was like, I don't know. It was like a combination of this and seeing a certain actor who shows up at the end look like he did when I was a child.
Yeah.
I didn't like that had such an emotional effect on me. It was so weird. And it just, oh my God, like really re-endeared.
Have you guys all watched Mandalorian? Yeah. Okay, all right. Are you guys enjoying the show, by the way? Okay, cool. We can put in their 2 cents. We have a live studio audience here, by the way.
Right, that's the way we do it. But it really made me love it again. It really made me love it again. I'm still not going to go back and see that third movie. Whatever the one was.
It was better than Last Jedi. And
I mean,
like, dude, it's
how
like
could
you're
it not
gonna
be?
read War and Peace, like this big ass book, and you're like, oh, I'm not gonna read the last 3 chapters because fuck
You know,
it.
I thought that's why I was going to see that movie. I'm still not going to see that movie. I just don't care. What else you guys got? You got anything else?
How much time we got left?
A little bit. You got something?
Another one that we both read, and then we'll coordinate better when Krystal comes on in future episodes so she can read some of the stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
You're doing a good job.
It's all good.
The X-Men Legends #3.
Oh yeah. So
I have a different cover than you have. You have a better cover.
Bastard. Yeah.
You have a better cover.
Yeah, I do.
That's the cover you want.
I know, you're still a bastard.
Stupid shit.
No, I know that because this looks like an X Factor cover from back when this story takes place, right?
And it's written and drawn like an X Factor. I wish they would do when they did stuff like that. I wish they would do it on newsprint.
Yeah, how about it?
To make
so
it
even
more
opens with the end of, I think it's whatever the last issue of X Factor is.
It picks up after issue 43, whatever happened then. The only reason I know that is because I read the little editorial note. But
wait a second. Well, at any rate, yeah, it was really cool.
X Factor back in the day? No.
I read like some random X-Men books that I would pick up from Toys R Us.
Okay. Well, X Factor, like they so the new X-Men, like Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Storm, Colossus, they came around and everybody loved them, and then everybody kind of forgot, Cyclops and Phoenix or Miss Marvel, Angel, Iceman, and Beast. But X-Men got popular enough that they decided to bring back the OG team, what they called the X Factor, and it was a group that was financed by Warren Worthington, who's Angel, and he paid for everything. And I went on missions. They were hunting down mutants to save.
So they would have TV commercials that almost look like the Ghostbusters TV commercials. Where
X Factor did back when they started. Yeah.
If mutants are bothering you, we'll take care of them. So people call them in, and then it turns out they're not taking care of them. Well, or they really are. They go and
they're rescuing them.
Yeah, they're like, we're here to rescue you, actually. So let's teach you how to use your powers. And
it was a fun book. I enjoyed it. Yeah. It was back before there was like 800 X-Men books.
Yeah, that was the best time in
X-Men. You had X-Men, you had X Factor, you had New Mutants, which I didn't care about. I didn't either. Boring.
No, X Factor was the first X book I read.
Huh?
X Factor was the first X book I read, and in fact, this one comes out of Inferno, and Inferno is still to this day, in my opinion, the best crossover any superhero comic ever did, and will never be.
Back before they did them every other week.
Exactly, so it meant something, and it was really good. So I really enjoyed.
And Walt Simonson, you could tell he's having a good time drawing it.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Yeah, it's Walt and Louise again, the couple that did it back in the day.
Yeah. So that he did a good job, I think, and the story it's basically a big fight thing, and I thought it was going to be self-contained, but they're going to be an issue 4 too, Sean. I'm sorry, so I'll say
that's fine. That's fine.
Okay,
I enjoyed it. It was cool.
Yeah, and I think that's about it, man. That's my stack. You have anything left?
I got one left. So I'm just going to say that the God damn it, Amazing Spider-Man,
Invisible Man.
Yes, Amazing Spider-Man Curse of the Man thing.
Oh, okay.
Remember, so the last time it was Avengers Curse of the Man thing. I bought it because
there's been a bunch of one-shots.
Yeah, I bought it for Man Thing, and there's very little Man Thing. So I was like,
that's what she said.
For those out there, I was just going to say Man Thing is like kind of like Swamp Thing. I'm not talking about like a penis. So
right.
This one, there's very little Man Thing and very little Spider-Man. So I'm like, this book is just misleading everybody all over the place. I think what they're doing, I'm not positive, but you had given me one of these, the Marvel previews, and I noticed in July, there's a character that pops up in some X book. It's on the cover. And I'm like, that looks like Man Thing, but not. And apparently there's some character coming called Manslaughter. I think Man Thing is going to mutate. I think what they're going to do is try and do with Man Thing what they did with Venom and Carnage, and seed a bunch of
bring the next
family books.
level generation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I haven't looked
think
at
that's
that yet, but I'll
I
check
think
it
that's
out.
what's going on. It's for people out there that are a Man-Thing fan or a Spider-Man fan. I think you could live without this book. Because I don't know. I don't even like. There's something very vague about the threat that they're dealing with, and like it's just kind of, I don't know. It just feels kind of like
boring.
half-assed. So yeah, kind of.
Dude, next time you come over, remind me to show you my giant-sized Man-Thing. Not a thingy.
Oh my god. Oh well. On
We did
that
5
note,
issues. Huh?
I said on that note.
Yeah.
So, we can call it. Krystal, thanks for coming on. We'd love to have you back. You can come back whenever you want.
Yeah.
Mike, will you do me a favor? Because
Mm-hmm.
I always conduct business on the show just to let people know how good you are at pushing things. Can you set me aside a copy of that Empire Strikes Back and a copy of Home?
Why do you think I showed it to you, bro?
I actually meant to ask you to set aside Home earlier on one of the previous episodes, and I forgot. So
yeah, I just wanted to remind you.
All right, well,
all right, brother, I'm leaving the thing.
All right, guys, take care.
All right, you be good. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Bye.